here an overview of the agenda of the day. We will start presenting our activities. Then I will go into detail, digging in the operative details of the new energy label implementation, going through a tool that we developed, and we call them guidelines. I will show you where you can find them. Then we will go through, thanks to Sophie's, in the results of a study regarding environmental and economic impacts of the new energy label implementation. Then Wharton will present the point of view of retailer. It's an implementation plan, the lesson learned from previous rescaling. And then we will have the possibility to answer all the questions that we will collect in the chat during the presentation, and we can discuss about them. Let's start asking you some questions. We prepared some very quick questions for you. You should be able to see them now, and we would like to answer. First of all, what do you think, which are the products that will be involved in the new energy label change? Okay, I can see the pool that is going to be populated of answer. Okay, 25 people answered so far. I'm going to share with you the results of this first question. So as you can see, the first two options were the most voted ones. Actually, the right one is the second one, if I'm not wrong, because the first one does not include lamps, and lamps are also included in this first wave of rescaling, while the other two options are not actually correct, considering that we will see this more in detail after, but small equipment as a smartphone are not involved in the energy label change in the first wave of rescaling. There will be future rescaling that will include more products, but now there are just certain equipment included in the rescaling of the new energy label. We have another question for you. So, what does April mean? This is an acronym that stands for, what is your opinion? I think that most of you already are familiar with this kind of environment. I'm not going to use certain words to not influence the answer. Okay, I will end the pool and here the results. So the right answer is that April stands for European Product Database for Energy Labeling. So it is already the place where supplier can register equipment. In future, in the near future, this database will be also the place to generate the label and to create the interface to the public through the generation of the QR code. So it's important to know that because it's also the tool that will allow the generation of the energy label. Last question for you, question number 3. Who is going to be affected the most by the energy label changes? You have a list of stakeholders that we imagine will be involved in certain measures in the change. I think that most of the attendees are manufacturers or retailers or market actors, considering that the content of the webinar is mainly targeted at these kind of stakeholders, but I can already mention that also the other stakeholders in the list are going to be voted by you. So I will share with you the results of this last poll. Okay, so I think the most voted option is manufacturers. In our opinion, all the stakeholders listed here will be involved in the change and affected by the change. It's just a matter of timing. So manufacturers and retailers are in the front line in this change. So they will be the first ones that will be involved in the change. But then for sure consumers needs to be prepared, and the project belt it will be a strong role on this. And then another point of this question is that it contains already the definition of suppliers as reported in the framework regulation. That includes manufacturers, importers, and authorized representative of a manufacturer. So the three subjects that are in charge and are responsible for the generation of the energy label and for other requirements that we will see in a few minutes. So thank you for answering. Okay. So I think that I'm the next one. So I will introduce, I'm not going to introduce myself because I already did. I'm going to present you more in detail which are the indication and the requirements for market actors. Okay. Okay. So the scope of this webinar is to understand the new energy label requirement. Here, an overview of the arguments that we are going to touch during the presentation. First of all, we would like to briefly discuss why the need for a new energy label. Then we will go through the product that are involved in this first wave of rescaling, because as said before, not all the product will be involved by the rescaling in this first period. Then we will do a comparison between the old and new label, highlighting the main differences and the future of the new label. And then we will go through the more operative part, so understanding which are the requirements and the deadline that manufacturers need to meet, starting from the April database that we already mentioned before. What are the characteristics of this database, how to use it, and the timing that applies for the different implementation of the energy label. There will be then a focus on some additional information regarding other aspects, so special requirements that applies to, for example, communication activities, or requirements that are specific to certain kind of product, as for example displays. And briefly, I've introduced the topic of eco-design regulation. I would like to remind that this is, today we are going to give an overview, but then I will show you where to find the document that contains all the detailed information, and also, very important, the reference legislation that I suggest always to look in detail. So why a new energy label? The label was introduced in 1995 and has been considering a successful tool to promote informed consumers' choices and to boost innovation in the energy efficiency of new electronic equipment. However, in the last decades, the label lost its effectiveness. Why? Because the scale from A+++ to G that is currently used in the label has become difficult to understand. In fact, the upper classes are too much populated, and this causes confusion in consumers. This is why it was necessary to rescale the label, and the European Commission have done this, introducing the new regulation and specific delegate act for each product involved in the change. The scope is to avoid confusion in consumers, but always to promote innovation and allow manufacturers to present in appropriate way the products that are most performing respect to the others. Let's see which are the products that are involved in the first wave of rescaling. First of all, we have household refrigerators and appliances, washing machine and washer dryers, dishwasher, displays, and light sources. There is another additional product family that will be involved in the change, that is refrigerating appliances with direct sales function. although we are not going to give details on this kind of equipment, considering that the consumers are not going to see this equipment in store and the related energy label. I said the label has been introduced in 1995, and this is not the first time that is changed along its history. You can see here a second version of the label in 2011, and now we arrived in the latest version. But which are the news in this new energy label? Maybe we can start discussing about the biggest change, and it regards the new scale. So no more plus classes will appear in the energy label, but the scale will be from A to G in this rescaled system. And the A class represents the most efficient one. And the G class is gradually the one that corresponded to the lowest efficient one. It is important at this point to bear in mind that there is not a direct correspondence between the old label classes and the new label classes. Why? Because not only the graphical part of the label changed, not only the scale of the label changed, but also calculation, testing, methods to evaluate the energy scale. This means that within the same product family, a product that it was A++ can be rescaled in a B class or in a C or D class, but not with a direct correspondence. To understand how the calculation methods and the test methods change, again, I suggest you to have a look to the delegated acts. In the appendix of the delegated acts, you will find all the detail. Another important, and this is also a visual one, change of the label, it regards the introduction of the QR code. The QR code has been introduced for the first time, and which is its scope. The QR code is linked with a large amount of information that will be made public to consumers in a transparent and easy way, just through the personal smartphone. The QR code is linked to the April database, and we show additional information to consumers as well as retailers. We will explore the different aspects of the April database after in this webinar. And then there are also graphical changes. You can see at the bottom of the new label that there are pictograms that are easy to understand in terms of meaning, but are a bit different than the ones showed in the previous version of the energy label. Okay. So as I said in the beginning, this webinar is dedicated to market actors, but specifically is going to explore the duties, responsibilities of manufacturers, of suppliers, because this is the terms that used in the regulation. So first of all, we should understand who is a supplier. A supplier, according to the definition in the framework regulation, is a manufacturer established in the union, or the authorized representative of a manufacturer who is not established in the union, or an importer who places a product in the European Union market. So if you're your company is following in one of these three categories, you are in the right place, and the information I'm going to give you after, I think that they will be useful for you. There is here another concept that is quite important to understand if we want to have clear which are the supplier's responsibility. And this is related with the expression also used in the framework regulation of place on the market of a product. You can find the same expression in the blue guide, and we'll find also there the definition. Let me explain what does it mean placing on the market a product. Placing on the market a product refers to when a manufacturer or an importer supplies a product to a distributor or an end users for the first time in the European Union market. And this definition is valid for each product, not a type of product. In other words, a product is placed on the market when it's made available for the first time in the European Union market. This kind of operation can be performed only from a manufacturer or an importer, so just from suppliers. When a manufacturer or an importer supply a product to a distributor or to an end user for the first time, this is when the product is placed on the market. Any further transaction within other stakeholder, other market actors, so for example, from a distributor to another distributor or to a distributor to an end user, is called making available. So it's different from placing on the market. So this is the first responsibility of a supplier, placing a product on the market. Which are the other responsibilities? As you can see listed in the slide, the supplier is responsible for generating the energy label. And of course is also responsible for the information reported on it. So this information should be accurate and reliable. And then, as said, the energy label is generated through the April database, and the supplier is also in charge of register for new product or re-register for old product, the product on the April database. But let's have a closer look to the content of this European database for energy label. This database is already active since the beginning of 2019. I think that most of you already are aware of this and already used it. So let's see which are the changes. Which are the innovation introduced by the new regulation. The April database is the place where the product registration should be made, that contain detailed information, including the product information sheet, that contains energy label information, that gives the possibilities to suppliers to notify when a product is no longer on the market. And then it is divided in two sections, a private one and a public interface. The public part is the one that provides additional data and information to consumers and to everyone who wants to download information using the QR code. The private section is the section that is devoted to market surveillance. So this section is only accessible to national market surveillance authority. And the data that are introduced in this part of the database are only needed for market control. A product for which changes are made and these changes are relevant for the label. So this applies to all the product for which the energy label is rescaled, has to be registered as a new model in the April database. Therefore, suppliers will have to re-register their product in April, and after the re-registration, a new April identifier will be generated. Okay, now we are starting the most operative part of this webinar, trying to understand what should be done and which are the important deadlines that we need to bear in mind. Also here, I would like to start listing some very important points. First of all, dates are very important. There are important dates to keep in mind, as you can see in the timeline: the 1st November 2020, the 1st March 2021, and this applies for washing machine, washer dryer, dishwasher, fridges, and displays. And then the other important deadline is the 1st September 2021 for lamps. These dates indicate the beginning of the obligation for suppliers to start providing products with the new energy label. However, it is not always like this. There are different rules that we are going to explore in detail in a few minutes, and they are related with the concept of placing a product on the market. Secondly, as you can see also in the picture, there are transition periods. In these transition periods, there are special rules that applies. Third, as mentioned, it is important to bear in mind the concept of placing a product on the market, also when we are considering the imports of products that are manufactured outside the European Union borders. And then the other important point that should be clarified is that the new energy label will be visible to consumers just starting from the 1st March 2021. So before that date, the new label should not appear in shops. Then, this is a very broad overview, but analyzing in detail the framework regulation, we identified 5 specific cases for the product as washing machine, dishwasher, refrigerators, and displays, and 2 specific cases that applies to light sources. Now I will try to give you an explanation as clear as possible regarding those dates. So let's start from a washing machine, washer dryer, dishwasher, fridges, and displays. Here we have the first case. So the cases that applies for products placed on the market before the 1st of November 2020 and that are no longer placed on the market after the 1st November 2020, when the rescaled the production of the rescaled label requires new testing methods. In this case, product may still be sold with the old label until the end of November 2021. So just with the old label, and no new information needs to be provided by suppliers. Then, starting from the 1st December 2021, products with the old label cannot be sold anymore. The same rules applies also when suppliers finish its activities. So it is impossible for retailers to obtain the rescaled label from supplier. Also in this case, the old products can be sold just with the old label. Here we have the second case we identified for all the appliances except for lamps. This case, it regards the product placed on the market before the 1st November 2020, so old products that are still placed on the market after this date. In this case, a transition period applies, the ones that I was trying to introduce you before. There is a transition period of 4 months between the 1st November 2020 and the 1st of March 2021. It is still true that only the current label can be shown to consumer, because we say that we can show the new label only starting from the 1st March 2025. But the regulation specifies also that suppliers, on request of the dealer, should provide the new energy label for product in the retailer stock. So the retailers are allowed to ask the new label for old products that they have in their stock. And this is also true, according to the regulation, that suppliers need to re-register in the April database the product that has a rescaled label. And according to this, a new product information sheet will be generated. Supplier can make available this information sheet just through April, not in a printed version as you are used to do today. However, retailers also in this case can request the new information sheet in a printed form to suppliers. And if the retailers do this request, suppliers are obliged to respond quickly, promptly, within 5 days. This means, summarizing, that there is a transition period of 4 months during which retailers have the possibility to request the new label for product placed on the market before the 1st November 2020. Then the obligation of retailers is to, within 14 working days, to replace the old label with the new one after the 1st March 2021 in online and physical shops. Here we are at the third case. The third case is actually applying to new products, so products placed on the market after the 1st November 2020, and is actually split into different subcases. Let's start with option 1. New products placed on the market from the 1st November 2020 and for which new testing methods can be applied. What's happened? A transition period applies also in this case. And during the 4-month transition period between the 1st November 2020 and the 1st March 2021, again, it is still true that only the new label can be shown to consumers. But there are additional requirements. Suppliers must provide the old and new energy label with no unit of products. So old and new energy label should be provided both when a new product is placed on the market after the 1st November 2020. Then supplier have to register the product on the April database just according to the new regulation. And supplier should make available the information sheet to retailers just through April, instead of providing the printed version of the information sheet. But also in this case, the dealer has the possibility to request the product information sheet in a printed form. And also in this case, a supplier should provide this information sheet in the printed form within 5 days. Practically, this means that within these 4 months of transition periods, there is the possibilities that customer will receive products that contains, for example, in the product packaging or in another part of the equipment, both label, the old one, the one that we are currently used, and the new one. But the new one cannot be shown in the shops before the 1st of March 2021. This was the option 1 applying to new product. Here, the option 2 applies always for new product. So, products placed on the market from 1st November 2020. In this case, if the supplier can choose another possibility. For this new product, it is sure that the new testing procedures can be applicable. The supplier may choose not to supply the existing label with the new appliance, but just to provide the new appliance with the new label from the 1st November 2020. In this case, it is the responsibility of the supplier to notify to the dealer that the equipment contains just the new label, and the dealer cannot offer to sell this equipment before the 1st March 2021. So this is the last case that applies for washing machine, fridges, dishwasher, displays, and is the easiest one. So this when starting from the 1st March 2021, new products are put on the market, and this product should contain just the new energy label. Let's go now to the other equipment involved in the first wave of rescaling. So lighting sources. As said, for lighting sources, we identified 2 different cases. Case 1, it regards product that are old. In this case, when we say old, we mean products that are placed on the market before September 2021 and that are not placed on the market after that date. In this case, starting from 1st September 2021, supplier during a transition period that in this case is much more longer than the previous one, and it is of 18 months, or request of the dealer, the supplier will provide the new energy label in form of a sticker that needs to be placed above the old energy label. This sticker containing the new energy label should have the same size of the old one, so that it's possible to completely cover it. Then, for the 1st March 2023, only the new label can be shown to consumers. All the label on the packaging should be completely covered with the sticker that reports the new energy label. This was the first case applying to light sources. And here we have the second case and the last case for light sources. In this case, we are talking about new lighting equipment, so equipment that are placed on the market from the 1st September 2021 onward. In this case, the supplier should provide each light sources in an individual packaging that reports already the rescaled label printed on it. Again, from the 1st September 2021, dealer must show the new label, the new product with the new label on the packaging in store and in the physical store and in online stores. Just I will give a small remark here that applies specifically for the lighting sources. From 1st March 2021, suppliers must re-register product in the April database according to the new regulation. So 1st March 2021. We finished to see which are the different cases that we identified for the different products, but as mentioned in the beginning, there are other specific rules that you can find in detail in the guidelines document that we prepared for you, as well as in the detail of the framework regulation. It is important to take in mind that there are specific regulations that applies for online and distance sellings. There are specific requirements in terms of how the energy label should be shown to consumers, as well as if the information sheet should be provided or not. For this place, there is a
Excuse me, Alessia. This
Yes.
is Luca. Considering you have just finished the big overview of the different, I don't know if they are 4 or 5 casuistics, maybe it could be good to take a look to the questions and answer and see if there are some specific question on that, so that you can, now that we are fresh, you can address.
Yes, I think that, okay. Okay, you can see, okay, if there is any news about the availability of the public part of the April, I don't have any news regarding the public part. If you are referring to the deadlines, according to the information provided by the Commission, it should be rated by the last quarter of this year, and not before that date. If you are asking regarding the content, we saw some demo, and it contains information such as the contact details of the manufacturers, the information regarding the energy efficiency of the equipment, and the information that can be found in the product information sheet. Then the other question that I have, if I start to place in the market product with double label before 1st November 2020, what can happen? Recently, what we did to support this kind of phenomenon, so the eventuality that before the 1st of November, consumers will receive products with both the old label and the new one, is to develop a flyer that can be distributed to retailers. We have now an Italian version of it. We are translating it in other languages. And this is a tool that can support retailers in this period when consumers will receive maybe buying from online services product with the double labeling. In terms of European Commission rules, the last update is the notice that was recently released by the European Commission, asking for some flexibility to national surveillance authorities, considering the tough time of the COVID-19 situation. So they are not going to enforce I don't know how to say, a fee for the breaking the regulation, considering that these months were particularly difficult for a manufacturer to be in line with the new regulation. I don't know if, Luca, you want to add something.
No, thank you.
Then slide 9 is not indicate that TVs and monitor must comply as of March, as 1st March 2021. Yes, you are right. This is a mistake. It is not in the text, but we will adjust it. There is the icon of the TVs, but it's not in the text. But I said these all the timelines that I try to explain for the first 5 cases applies to all the products I had in my list, except for lamps. Okay, yes. Then I have another question for products market as end of placing on the market before 1st November 2020 in April, but still present in the warehouses of commercial subsidiaries in Europe. A change of property has been done from manufacturers and commercial subsidiaries, I think. Do you confirm that we can consider them as already placed on the market? Okay. We will look it through this question more carefully because it's a very technical one, but as I try to explain, the pivotal concept is place on the market. A place on the market, it refers to just suppliers, so manufacturers, importers, representative of manufacturers, and it refers just for the first introduction of the product in the European Union market. So the subsequent transaction between other different actors, from retailers to retailers to consumers, are not anymore placing on the market. So I think that I can confirm your question, but we will check it carefully after the webinar. Okay. I understood that because of COVID-19, the transition period with 2 labels, old and new, from November 2020 and March 2021 do not exist anymore. I think that is slightly different. I think that the interpretation should be that, considering that it was not always possible to be ready, considering the stop of 2 or 3 months, if someone is not able to be ready, introducing both labels, the Commission is not going to penalize this kind of subject. So it's not that non-exist anymore, but there is more flexibility. And I don't have any other questions. But if you have other questions, please just write and I will address them. Okay, so I can continue with this last part of the presentation. So I say there are specific requirements and the regulation for online and distance selling, how the new energy label should be shown. You will see in the guidelines we prepare in the framework regulation that there are specific arrows that must be shown in the web. For displays, there are specific requirements that applies also to retailers, and they regards how the displays should be shown in the physical shops. There are specific requirements that applies for integrated lights, and you can find them in the delegate acts referring to lighting sources. Then there are specific rules that apply for the every regulation and the timing that are different, as we saw before, from all the appliances and lamps. There are different deadlines, as well as for technical information sheet when they need to be provided in printed form, or when it is enough to provide them through the Applet database. So maybe something that is important to stress is the timing for communication and advertising activities. According to the regulation, any graphical advertising relating to a specific product should not, and containing the new energy label, so the rescaling label, should not make available before the implementation of the new, the entering into force of the new energy label regulation. This means before the 1st of March 2021 and the 1st September 2021 for lamps. This not means that cannot be done informational campaign, but just is a suggestion to be careful and understand the difference between communication that is referring not to a specific product and a specific brand, campaign, and advertising campaign. So no advertising of a specific product containing the new energy label is allowed before the 1st March 2021 or the 1st September 2021, but yes, you can do informational campaign referring to specific products, as we are doing with the activity of the project BERT. And the same concept, it applies for catalogs, that catalogs containing the new energy label cannot be made public before the entry into force of the new regulation. So now we are almost at the end of this webinar, of this part of the webinar, and I will just go through quickly through the eco-design regulation. The new label regulation came with also another directive, and it is the directive that applies to eco-design. The content of these eco-design directives, it regards requirements, specific requirements for products in terms of energy efficiency, functionalities, resource efficiency, and information availabilities toward consumers. And when we talk about resource efficiency, you will find in the Eco-Design Directive specific rules in terms of availability of spare parts, in terms of providing after-sales service to consumers, as well as to provide to consumers information regarding how to properly maintain and dismantling product. So I think that, okay. I think that I gave you all the main information. You can visit the project website dedicated to market actors. The name is newenergylabelt.eu. you will find there a document, both the document in the training session. You will find a document dedicated to manufacturers and a document dedicated to retailers. And there are two guidelines explaining more in detail what I try to show you today. You will find some graph that summarize the important deadlines and important requirements. You will find also a frequently asked question document where we collected all the questions that we received so far, but we will populate it with question and answer that we are receiving in other consultation moment as the ones you are doing us, that you did us today. So that's all. If you have additional question, I just check. Okay. There is and this okay. Now there is the question in relation to the transition period and the last communication from the European Union regarding the COVID-19 situation. We will try to go through it more in detail, and we will give you an answer. We will check if our interpretation is the proper one.
Okay, Alessia, I will say that we are going to scrutinize all the questions. Maybe during the next session, after the next session, we can come back to the attendees with some answer. Now the floor goes to?
Now the floor goes to Marco Meloni from Sofis. Marco?
Yes, hello, good afternoon again. Let me share my screen.
Marco is going to present the results of the environmental and economic study they did regarding the impact of the new energy label.
Yeah, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes, Marco,
yeah?
we can.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so during the next 10-15 minutes, I'm going to explain the work that BELT is doing in terms of understanding the environmental and economic benefits of the introduction of the new energy labels. So as you know, the introduction of the new labels is expected to increase the efficiency of the products in the market. And one of the aims of the BELT project is to understand the impact of this increased efficiency at a consumer level, but also at the EU and target country level, and explain how this actually works. So there's two parts to this presentation. One focusing on consumers, and together with other project members, we're developing a web tool to help consumers understand what the new labels imply for them in terms of energy consumption emissions, but also electricity costs. And we have also created an Excel-based tool to estimate the environmental benefits at EU and target country level, and also the reduced consumption of electricity costs. So I'll start with the web tool. And so as I said just now, the tool is designed to help consumers understand what the label means for them when they're making, for example, a buying decision. The energy consumption estimates that we used for this were based on the standard energy consumption as described on the energy label regulations. And the parameters such as dimensions, regularity of use, and a few more were defined with the help of industry experts. So let me show you what a very early prototype of the user interface would look like, and what's our approach. So the idea is that the consumer, depending on the type of appliance, so for example the size, the number of use, how much it's used, and also the country where they're based, they'll be able to have an idea of the energy consumption per energy label class, and also what this means in terms of electricity costs and associated carbon dioxide emissions. And we're also considering some other ways to illustrate the results, such as number of trees or kilometers of driving a car equivalent. But as I said, this is a very early prototype, and the tool will be quite different when it's actually ready, as it's actually now being developed by the IT team. And we have also developed an Excel-based tool to estimate the environmental benefits of the introduction of the new labels at a EU level or also target country. And the approach behind this tool was for it to be very flexible and to be able to assess the benefits under different scenarios. The plan is we have some preliminary results based on some scenarios that we have created, but we will update the results once there is real market data available, and once we can see how the different, for example, awareness projects and initiatives such as BELT were received. So taking a closer look at the methodology behind the tool. So the key variables here are sales per energy label and disposal of products, energy consumption, and energy emission factor and costs. The stock was calculated based on the difference between the waste generated, calculated with the apparent consumption methodology, and the sales per energy label category. Once we have a stock, we can estimate an average energy consumption per energy label, also with some other assumptions, of course. And then using country-specific emission factors, we can estimate environmental impacts linked to electricity consumption, and also we can calculate electricity costs. Now, to understand the benefit of the new labels, we need to compare a scenario where the labels are introduced with a baseline scenario. And in the baseline scenario that we created for this was assuming that there were no new labels and projecting the sales per category of the past couple of years until 2030, while the total sales were obtained from projections from literature. And the new label scenario, while the total sales again was based on projections from literature, we created a future sales scenario per energy label, assuming a fixed increased per year. And this, as I said just now, will be updated once we have actual sales data under the new energy labels. And our preliminary results will show that we do expect significant energy savings, resulting in thousands of tons of kilotons of carbon dioxide emissions saved, and also millions of euros saved for consumers. And just summarizing, these are preliminary results based on the projections that we've made, and it will be updated with real market data once this data is available, and this will allow to refine the estimates and to actually measure the actual environmental benefits. But something that also I want to highlight is that the value also of this tool approach is that not only it allows you to see what the impact of past decisions has been, but it also allows us, companies, to make based on, for example, energy emission reduction, to make sales target sales scenarios. So it can be also a tool to inform decisions moving forwards. And also a final note that I think it's important to mention is that carbon dioxide emissions and also electricity costs are affected by the changing energy mixes per country. And this is something also that our tool allows us to update as emissions change. So again, the added value of the flexibility. So, well, that was quite a brief description of the tool. And if you have any questions or thoughts or would like to learn more, please do write to my colleague Salam or myself, and we would be more than happy to continue that conversation. Well, yeah, that's all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco. I don't know if there are questions. It seems that now there are not questions related to your presentation, but we will collect them and we will address at the end, or we'll forward you at the end of the webinar.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to hand over to Philippe Estrelina, Business Unit Director of Wharton, that is going to give us an overview of implementation plan of a new energy label related to retailers challenges and best practices. Philippe, can you share your screen?
Of course, just a moment. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, great. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, in this afternoon period, our challenge is to rethink about the retail implementation strategy for the new energy efficiency level. So what we are thinking is to share with you 4 points that could give us a look and look to the future as an opportunity. So what we are seeing here is about energy efficiency alignment, first of all, and check opportunities and challenge, preparation, implementation, and of course, our commitments, our company commitments. So what we want to share is a retail point of view in terms of the BELT project. So in terms of retail, we are seeing 3 big moments to take in mind. So the first one, it's the 1st of November 2020. It means that the suppliers will deliver 2 labels through our warehouse. So, but we need to take in mind that after this period, we don't have possibility to expose or give exhibition to the new level. We need to keep to stay the exhibition of the old level. And we know that the new level will stay in packaging, but we are talking about a new product. So this is a critical moment for us because with 2 levels, it's it could create some kind of doubts in terms of the sales force, the consumer, because the consumer wants to buy a triple plus, but at the end, the consumers could check that they have another level with D class. So we need to take care and think in this moment, because it's a critical moment for the both parts, for the three parts: the supplier, the retailer, and the consumer. So the second moment, it's a new critical moment for the retail part. It's the 1st of March of 2021. It means that we need to implement our strategy in terms of energy level. At this moment, we need to make sure that our stores online, we need to be totally aligned in terms of exhibition of the new level. So we need to put out all levels, and we need to put in the new level. So, and the third critical point is, the 1st of December of 2021, because at this moment it will be impossible to sell products, home appliance, with old level. So we need to rethink in these 3 points. So this is like a timeline overview in order to understand in a retail mind concept how we can move our structure in order to support this initiative. So in the terms of Vorten, right now we are in, we integrated the whole alignment, and we understand the rules and the procedure, and we want to drive these rules and procedures to another operational plan. So the next stage is to identify the opportunities and challenge. The third point is about preparation, and we need to be prepared until the 1st of November, because I know that, and probably you know too, that some suppliers are delivering right now 2 levels. And the next weeks, probably we will have some kind of difficulties to explain the customers about these 2 levels. So we need to be prepared, very well prepared, to clarify the customer in terms of these new rules. So after that, we need to take ahead this preparation plan and make sure that the 1st of March we are totally aligned in terms of implementation. And of course, we need to take in mind the stock of moment, because in the 30 of November 2021, in terms of retail, we could have a big problem, because if we don't sell the SKUs with old level, we will need to take or remove from the stores, and we need to think what's the cost, or we need to assure at this moment that we don't have more stock with the whole level, because after this period we will have a cost for sure. So this is a critical moment. So in terms of opportunities and challenge, as I shared in the morning period, in our vision, this moment will be a great opportunity for the retail part. And don't forget, because we are talking about the energy efficiency, one of the most important purchase drivers in a home appliance industry. And if we are introducing a new rules, changing is opportunity. And we expect a new cycle of value and average value, and the online, as I shared, it will be for the next years for sure a huge opportunity for retailers, because it's a channel that is growing a lot, and the COVID-19 speed up the process. So, and the message is drive sales to value, but how? Through the online. I think that we are all experts to sell offline, but we need to think how to drive the sales online. I think that it's the main exercise that we need to do. And remember, please, because we have we shared four examples. Think how you can display your products and information about the energy efficiency level. Think about the environment. Think about to exhibition the information, and lead and guide your consumer to the right choice. give visibility for the products that have the most energy efficiency rational, and you will offer one of the best experience in the market, and for sure the customer will expand a little bit more because understand the rationale that you are trying to share. And the second option is to build the partnership with some and create some kind of synergy between energy efficiency products, energy efficiency suppliers, and why not energy companies, and offer not just for a price, but the concept in terms of efficiency, but with added value, and you will have a competitive advantage. It's not about price, remember that. And the storytelling, we need to build some kind of structure, calculations to focus on benefits, not in price. We need to sell technology, the efficient energy. We need to be prepared to talk with the consumers, to clarify. But first of all, we need to understand how we can drive this moment. We can take in our mind that it's very important for our business and for our consumers that could make, invest a little bit more, but at the end the payback will be soon, and you could share some rationale with these parts. And last but not the least, remember about our knowledge, expert team knowledge that we have to drive sales offline. Please, we think about to bring this expertise to online level and create the kind of approach and service with your customers. Engage, take a conversation eye on eye. We are not talking about human touch, but we are talking about a human relation, and we can understand some feelings, some needs. What we have today, it's about bots and contents, and it could be a great option to introduce, this energy level and clarify the consumers. So it's about the opportunities, diagnosis, but in this project, we are seeing a huge challenge ahead. So, to mobilizing all departments inside of our company will be for sure a huge challenge. But at the end, it's very important that our company follow one direction. The other point, it's about our own brands, because we have our own brands. And in the case of MDA, we have 36 SKUs, 9 suppliers, and we are making a lot of tests. So it's a critical point, because we need to assure that all actors in this part are totally aligned in order to take the times. So. And third point is it's to control the implementation of the project, this program, implementation the new level, or took out the old level, and the stock limit, the stock of timing that we have to clean our shelves with the old level stock. And of course, we need to control the supply deliveries reception in terms of levels. Other point, it's about training hundreds of people and make sure that we are totally 100% prepared to clarify our customers, and of course the consumer information. We need to create some kind of structure, easy information, in order to stay in mind of our organization. And we cannot forget the importance about this information, because this information needs to be aligned in the near future from March 1, 2021, in terms of communication promotion, because information, it's one thing, communication, it's about promotion. So we need to align internal communication, training, information. Then we need to align, you know, with our marketing department, the communication. So we need to match these 2 points. Oops. The third point, it's about preparation. We need to understand, train, implement, and communicate. And right now, we are confident that we are understanding the rules and the regulation, and we can move to the next step. And the next step, it's about to build a multidisciplinary team in order to mobilize, you know, all departments to follow one direction. And preparing training materials for retail. In our opinion, we need to start this soon, because we want to share this information about the new label energy efficiency with our structure in order to create this kind of preparation, internal preparation to clarify the consumers before November. So it's very important for us. So training, it's about training Vorten staff, commercial parts, store staff, e-commerce, customer service. You know, we need to integrate our structure inside. Other point, it's about align the communication strategy to be implemented through the Vorten channels. But as I shared, we need, first of all, we need to align the information internal, and we need to create a communication basis. And we need to align information with communication and promotion across the channels, because you don't forget about the customer journey. We need to talk the same. We need to have the same vision in all channels. If the customer search and ask some information in an online channel, and if decide to contact our contact center, and if decide, for instance, to buy in the store, you know, all channels needs to be aligned in terms of information communication, and we need to take care about this. So it's important too for some categories that some actors, other value chains actors, that needs to be made aware of the new level, like installers, repairs, providers. So, and the last but not the least, but it's very important to take in mind that this is a huge plan, involve a lot of people, a lot of channels, a lot of process, technology, support, and we need to control everything in order to follow our timeline and milestones at retail level. So I can share as an example, of course, what we are thinking about the implementation process. So we are seeing our channels, and we want to make sure that all channels are inside of this vision. So we need to be 100% prepared to clarify the customers in all channels. This is a, you know, strategy needs to be across channel. Don't forget this point, it's very important. So suppliers provide 2 labels for the new products. From the 1st of November this year, we will receive 2 labels, but we, until March the next year, we can make exhibition the old one, not the new one. So to do this job, we need to create some easy information to clarify the customers, because at the end the customers will see 2 labels. So we need to create some kind of information in order to clarify everything, and we need to think the perfect time to act. And because this, we decide to be defined this point because it's a critical point. And of course, the 1st of March, the March for the next year will be the critical time to display the new SKUs with the new energy efficiency label. So we will have this moment and we need to be totally integrated in terms of company to drive this program until this day. But this is not the end. Because we need to start to create a strategic program to promote energy efficiency through the tools that I shared. You know, we can create some kind of partnerships. We can use the offline channel to give visibility and information to this new paradigm. We can use the call center to align the communication. We can use the offline. We can use leaflets. We can use a lot of things. We need to think how to promote energy efficiency, because it's the way to collect value. And this is the opportunity. And of course, another critical moment, it's about the old stock. We need to move quickly the old stock in order to not take problems after 1st of December 2021. Because after this moment, if you have stock with all levels, you will have a cost for sure. Think about these moments. So, and about to share our company commitments, we are totally focused as a company to protecting and restoring nature. And thank you for your time, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Felipe. Thank you for your very interesting presentation. Okay, I'm looking at the question and answer. There is a new one, I think referring to your presentation, asking if retailers should replace the label. And Felipe, I don't know if you want to say something. I think that yes, for the double labeling cases, when the old label should be replaced with a new one, retailer has 14 working days to do so after the 1st March 2021.
Yeah.
So yes, this is a retailer's responsibility.
And we need to take care about this. And I think that the challenge, it's you know, control everything, because you will have probably in some stores hundreds of products in his exhibition, and we need to take care about this and control the information, but not just in store. We need to control too the deliveries from the suppliers, because we need to expect some errors in the first stage. So we need to check this in the start of chain, since the reception until the exhibition. So we need to start working quickly.
Okay, thank you. There are then some other questions addressing the presentation of Marco Meloni from SOFIS. I don't know if, yes, he's still with us, if can give an answer to this. One is referring to what are the end life scenarios assumed in the study for each product group. So reuse, remanufacturing, recycling. And the other one is, does your method translate into the more sales, the more environmental benefits? So 2 questions, one methodological one, and the other one regarding the end of life you considered.
Hi, yes, sorry, I was just actually replying the messages privately. But yes, so the method focuses on energy consumption, so the use of the products. So we didn't consider end-of-life impacts for this. Of course, when you look at the overall environment picture, that can influence the results, but we're looking exclusively at energy consumption in this study. However, we have, using the apparent consumption methodology for estimating the length of life and disposal of products, influences the results, but not in terms of how the end of life, how the products are treated in the end of life, for example, recycling or not. And then, and then the second question on if more sales results in lower environmental impact. More sales of more efficient products could result in lower environmental impact. But it's important here also to say that the environmental impact of the use, so the energy consumption, depends on the stock of products. So if more sales is resulting in an increase in the size of the stock, this does not directly result in a lower environmental impact of the use of the appliances. However, if the stock remains constant and the appliances in the stock are more energy efficient, then the overall energy consumption will be lower.
Okay, thank you for your reply.
And yeah, any more questions, please. You can also write to me via email. I actually need to leave right now, but I'd be more than happy to discuss any of these points further. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Then there is an answer asking if the web tool will be made available for all. I think that as soon as the web tool calculation will be ready, it will be shared through the Project BELT website, and we will inform you. Okay. There is another question. Is there any thought on how to protect consumers from the site after the old label products are withdrawn? There is always the possibility to put a new label to an old technology appliance. Yes, I think that, as I said, the responsibility of the information shown in the energy label is of the manufacturers, and I think that manufacturers are aware about that, so they need to be compliant and they need to provide reliable and accurate information in the label. There are some questions regarding if the webinar it will be available. Yes, we will make it available through the project website. The slides from presenters, from speakers, and the record of this session, as well as you can find in the project website a webinar, recorded webinar in English addressing the point of the guidelines that we also touched today. Okay. I don't see any other question. Okay, we are actually behind the schedule, so I think that if there are not other questions, I thank you all. I thank you all the presenters, the speakers,